What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about Rezolve AI. I want to go over some expectations for this upcoming week, what might cause some volatility in the stock price, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So this upcoming week, there's a lot of good opportunities for the market to regain a certain level of optimism. And obviously in Rezolve's case and many other growth and speculative stocks, the last month has been absolutely brutal. So the market's going to be looking for some glimmer of hope. And this upcoming week, even though it is a shorter week, so Monday the market's closed, I'm sure everyone is aware of that at this stage in the game. But Tuesday we have ADP. Wednesday is going to be a big day for the market. So we have mortgage applications, mortgage market index. Last couple issuances of data have been rather negative. So the market will be really looking at that for some level of hope and kind of a nice reversal. Building permits, housing starts, but it is going to be FOMC minutes. So last time they were submitted, the market really just tore it apart because the members were somewhat divided. So market's going to be really looking at more of a hope for a rate cut or numerous cuts. So that's also one thing that really did help on Friday, is just the market's under the impression there might be as high as 3 cuts in 2026. So that would be pretty good. Even though technically, I know I've brought this up in the past, none of this for face value should really affect Rezolve because they have very limited access and kind of business in the States right now. Again, that should hopefully change in Q2 as they kind of mentioned that they're going to be expanding, but still through algorithmic trading, a lot of this will affect Rezolve's volume and so forth. So Wednesday is going to be a big day, so FOMC minutes. Thursday we do have quite a lot of Fed speakers with Philly manufacturing data, initial jobs claims, and then on Friday we have PCE and GDP. Very big data points as well. On Friday we also do have this right here. So Trump's court case, Supreme Court ruling could come out. Last 2 times it's just been adjourned and pushed back, which again could happen this time around as well. But still, if there is a actual kind of announcement, then that is definitely going to move the broader market. Aside from that though, these are the companies putting out their earnings. Walmart in the past, dependent on what they give for future guidance, top and bottom line, they have really moved the consumer linked stocks. And then we have Open Door, very speculative stock as well. So these are kind of it. Aside from those two, I don't really see anything crazy where we could see just a massive sell-off or kind of FOMO because of this. So in my opinion, it is going to be largely linked to the data. As far as Rezolve, there isn't anything planned for this upcoming week. One thing recently did come out though, and that was this. So as much as I am always critical of Rezolve, so for those of you that are new to the channel, I'm not here to pump. I just like to be very unbiased, give you the good, the bad, and the ugly. You guys can kind of conjure up your own decisions and so forth. But I gotta admit, Dan doing these types of responses on Twitter could be problematic from an information standpoint, but he definitely does give a lot of good information, and he does appeal to a lot of retail investors by doing that. So this individual R just said, hi Dan, can you confirm 5 things? So dilution in the next 12 months, yes or no, cash burn, so forth and so forth, reverse stock split. Dan, to the best of his ability, answers everything. We did get some somewhat new information of sorts. So they have roughly around 100 million in cash. So this was announced after the whole reward deal. So that means because they did pay 230 million in cash. So that is 100 million in true cash. So that's sufficient, a good runway in my opinion. They also mentioned, or Dan also mentioned, that we expect to be profitable by the end of Q3. I don't know if he's talking about full profitability or just break even. I would more lean towards the latter, but still, nonetheless, the fact that he's saying that is pretty good. And then number 1, I'm not really a fan of, only because he did previously mention that there's going to be a lot of acquisitions in 2026. So number 1 was dilution in the next 12 months, yes or no. But Dan did say, who knows, we may need to be opportunistic with M&A, but other than that, no plan. So that's kind of a good, bad type of response. Still, again, deserving of a round of applause that Dan does give this level of information and just openly responds to a lot of comments. So let me know your general thoughts on that in the comments below. None of this in reality should really affect this week in particular, but this is a lot more kind of bigger plan type of stuff. So if you are investing in, again, Rezolve or any other company, break even and profitability is good and usually is a natural deterrent for shorts. So going into this upcoming week, 13.83% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 33.32 million shares overall being shorted. DTC 1.36 days does signal that shorts are relatively overextended. Short score 66.83. So the higher the number, the higher the likelihood of a squeeze happening. Looking at the options, the bad thing about Rezolve is the dollar value has dropped significantly. So a lot of people aren't really doing Rezolve options, which kind of makes sense again, given just what has happened. And there seems to be like a little bit of a rotation out of tech and AI right now. But from a bull standpoint, you see a consensus for it to be above 250. So that's kind of, again, a good thing. So between that 250 and 3, bears are anticipating for it to be sub 250. So pretty much staying where it is. So that's kind of the spectrum for that. Aside from that, though, with it at 227, it is trading between this S1 and this S2. So $1.89 and then 246 is going to be the next strong support and target. Ideally, you'd want to see Rezolve above that 246 by kind of midday Wednesday. And then that way it can kind of have a nice push higher, hopefully get FOMC pump in the broader market and get close to that $3 range. And if you think about it, that'd be a pretty good return on investment, but it really does need to get above that 246 right quick. Aside from all of that fun stuff on the actual chart, again, not to sugarcoat things or whatever, but this doesn't look great whatsoever. So it is below a lot of the key pivotal moving averages. So it's below the 10, 50, 100, and also 200-day moving averages. Stochastic RSI is at 41, so it's kind of neutral in nature, not really overbought nor oversold. So a good piece of news if they do come out with something, then you could see a nice push higher. And like I said, I don't think there's anything really planned that Rezolve is going to put out. But if they elaborate and actually do a dedicated PR about their American expansion, I feel like that could be a good catalyst and might incentivize some institutional transactions. But on the market position from Friday, it's not out of danger just yet because you still do see a hell of a lot of willing sellers, not that much in buyers. So let me know your general thoughts on Rezolve. Are you buying? Are you selling? Where do you realistically see things going? I do believe that this week is going to be a fairly green week because of all the data and should in general push a lot of growth and speculative stocks higher. Not saying we're going to get back to the $5 or $6 range, but realistically I could see a test of this 50-day moving average, and that right now is sitting at 294. Again, that would still be a pretty good return on investment if you're a swing trader or day trader. But at the same time, like I said, there's not really that much willing buyers, so there's a lot of downside potential at the same time. So let me know your general thoughts. Hopefully everyone's having a good weekend. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto. Put out daily day trades, numerous swing trades, worthwhile to pop over there and check that out. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.